Sekeres Price, a special post-game edition. Round 1, Game 3, Vancouver Canucks 2, Nashville Predators 1 from Bridgestone Arena in Music City, and the Canucks now take a 2-1 series lead in this best-of-7 first-round Western Conference playoff series. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price, Grady Sassett and Switches conducting things, and as always, this program a presentation of Applewood Auto Group.
Head on down to the Applewood Infinity in Richmond, the Richmond Auto Mall, and find yourself in a QX60. Take the 2024 edition for a test drive and lease it at 0.99% for 24 months, and that is on all trims. It's all good at Applewood.
Blake, I am going to start with the shot clock, which is the biggest story in this series through 3 games. Absolutely astonishing stuff. The Vancouver Canucks get outshot 30-12 in this hockey game and yet win it. They now have 51 shots through 3 games in this series, averaging 17 per game, and yet somehow have a 2-1 series lead. They were the best team in games 1 and games 2 and split that. But to me, I've never seen anything like this in a Stanley Cup playoff series, but to me, one of the big stories here is just their inability to put rubber on Nashville goalie UC Soros, and yet they're in the driver's seat after 3 games.
First time a team has won a playoff game with 12 shots since 2017 in the Stanley Cup final, I believe, in that one. And you know what? The 2-1 series lead is it's just they've been assigned to the wrong games. The Canucks probably should have won the 2 home games, and they probably should have lost this one. Very bizarre. I don't know how you go from one extreme to the other with the Canucks owning the puck, owning possession, the barrage of shot attempts in game number 2. I don't know how they go from that to this. And you know what? I could have excused the stats through 40 minutes. But then the third period was just overwhelming. And I don't know what is really the impetus for this, Matt. I don't know what we attribute this, all of a sudden, this swing of momentum within this game, that is, to the Nashville Predators. But, hey, the Canucks skate away with the win. And in the end, that's all that matters. And you know, they just wanted to stay alive. What was our poll question earlier today? Who needs to be bigger? Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. DeSmith or Pettersson. Well, DeSmith kept them in it. It was a big game for Casey DeSmith, and as such, the Canucks are back with home ice advantage in the series.
Yep. It was the shot attempts in game 2. I'll refresh you there, Blake. 84-36 for the Vancouver Canucks. It was the biggest disparity in a Canucks game in some 34 years. Tonight just flipped the script. The Nashville Predators, with 71 shot attempts, 31 of them are blocked, and the Vancouver Canucks come out with just the 33 shot attempts. It just a complete reversal, and absolutely astonishing as you were watching things go down.
Now,
all right.
Now, a lot of that is man advantage because they had the extended man advantages. At evens, it's 48-25, or at 5-on-5, that is. It's 48-25 at evens. It's 55-27. So it's a little less crazy at even strength, but the Canucks, hey, they're the ones that put themselves in the trouble with all those penalty kills.
Yeah, I mean, still a pretty good disparity there, but
yeah, totally,
quite right. A lot of that done with Nashville and all the power plays they had in this hockey game. And of course, when we say power play, the Canucks went into this game 0 for 6 on the power play. They get 2 goals, and sure enough, it's a couple of the big guns. JT Miller with his first of the series, Brock Besser with his first of the series, Quinn Hughes assists on both goals. Blake, we were waiting for the Canucks' best players, their top 6, to step up and make an imprint on the series, and they certainly did that through 40 minutes tonight, with the Canucks holding a 2-0 lead.
And that's despite the fact that they were certainly in the crosshairs of the Nashville Predators. Boy, were the Preds honed in on the stars, in particular Hughes, but really everybody. I look like Besser was feeling the pressure as well in terms of the physical pressure from the Nashville Predators, but they were able to battle through. And hey, all 6 points on the 2 goals for the Vancouver Canucks go to the big guns and Besser, Miller, Hughes, Pettersson. So everything that they needed to step up in the wake of the Thatcher Demko injury and in the wake of a weird game 2, everybody that they needed to step up stepped up. Now there were just some huge deficiencies, but in the end, you look at the box score, and if you didn't know that advanced stats existed, you'd probably say it wasn't as bad a game as you think. The deeper you go in the stats, the worse the news gets. But
Yes.
hey, we've talked about it. Come playoff time, stats are interesting, but in the small sample size, they're a lot more easily reversed. And I don't know that this is, based on what we just saw in game number 2, I don't know that this is a huge risk of the Canucks leaning on this type of game.
No. Yeah. No, I great shout, because we knew Nashville didn't want to play like they played in game 2. And sure enough, Andrew Burnett and his Chargers were true to their word. They changed things up this evening. We're far more aggressive compared to the passive shell that we saw, particularly in period 3 in game 2. But, I suspect Rick Tocchet is going to say the same thing here coming out of this game, is we can't play that way and expect to win this series. Nashville goes 0 for 5 on the power play, and some terrific Canucks penalty killing here tonight. We should shout that out.
Tremendous.
Let's give a bigger shout out to Casey DeSmith. Just an exceedingly difficult spot to be dropped into game 2 of this series, playing his first Stanley Cup playoff game. He looked shaky. Boy, he looked fantastic tonight, Blake. The nerves were for the most part gone. He was seeing the puck well. They only beat him late in the third period with 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go. That is an absolute sensational performance from a backup goaltender who's now your starting goaltender, because you're going to be riding him the rest of this series.
Yeah, they do need to find a way to protect him a little bit better. And I think the healthier Tyler Myers gets, and Tyler Myers was fine tonight. He wasn't bad, but I think he probably still doesn't feel great, would be my guess, coming off of the sickness. So, the further Myers gets away from that, and I think the Canucks have a way to play more defensive than this. Like, I was still hopeful, even late in the third period, that it would still be, I think, pretty impressive for the Canucks to hold the Preds to under 30 shots again. Like, I was hoping through 3 games, the Canucks could, at least in the wake of being outshot badly here, in the wake of that, still say, okay, but they still haven't allowed any, in any of the games, the Preds to get to 30 shots in the game. Well, they ultimately get to 30 on the nose with the late flurry and the goaltender pulled. But they can play better defensively, certainly. They can hope the special teams continues a little bit, and I think there's a chance to find some middle ground here, because just a wild swing in statistics here from game to game. But the most important thing was that you won this game 3. That if Nashville wins this, boy, do they have a lot of pressure on their back in game number 4. Game 3 is always pivotal. If it's 2-0 in a series, of course, it's almost an elimination game for the team that's down 2-0. And in a 1-1 series, well, particularly for the team that gave up the split, the home ice team, in this case, the Canucks, well, if you win game 3, you can breathe again. You've wrestled home ice back. You're not looking to lose game 4. But you've got a little house money there, knowing that you still have home ice advantage come game 5. And now I think you might see a little bit more of the Vancouver Canucks. They played a little tight here. I think they played with a little bit of fear here tonight, and they were able to get through it, Matt. But I think not playing with fear in game 4 is going to look better, I think.
And we talked about it, and Elias Pettersson even acknowledged it, that it's his first time through a real Stanley Cup playoffs. This was their first game for a lot of these guys in hostile territory in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It wasn't the sterile bubble with nobody in and, nobody in the building. Like, this was enemy terrain. So I agree with everything you said, and I think it's fantastic. Hey, Tocchet said it several times during the course of the season. It's fantastic when you can have a learning experience and still win. And tonight was a learning experience with the backdrop of a victory. And so you're quite right. They get home ice advantage back in this series. They have a little bit of wiggle room in game 4. I mean, yes, you absolutely want to win it and have a chance to finish off the series in 5. But if you lose it, it's not situation critical. Let's shout out Ian Cole for some of the penalty kill work, particularly on that brief 5-on-3 when Nashville was getting the puck to net. Somehow Ian Cole is in the midst of that, blocking a shot, then deflecting that Ryan O'Reilly chance right from the net side. over the goal. And then in the final desperate seconds of this hockey game, Forsberg with a wrist shot, the ensuing scramble, and then a wide open Predator in front of the net. The puck can't get through, and another wide open Predator streaking down, looking to threaten, and the puck bobbles over his stick. So some good fortune here, but also guys laying it on the line, Blake, sacrificing everything to make sure they nurse this 2-1 game home.
Blocking shots off their heads, 5 block shots in total for Ian Cole, if we didn't say that. An unbelievable performance by him. And yet I do think you have to wonder what might have been if it's a 5-minute major to Dakota Joshua in the end.
Yeah. What did you think of the call?
You know what? I'm unclear what the difference is necessarily. Like, there is a 2-minute boarding call. Like, boarding by its very definition is kind of a violent, scary play. And yet you've carved out a niche for a 2-minute call. So is it only the one where the guy could have been paralyzed that's the 5-minute major? Like, what? Like, when does it graduate? Because
is a longer run into the back than what Joshua
that's a
had?
Charge more than a board? And I don't know. Like, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to call it boarding by definition, I don't know. Like, I'm of two minds of it, you know?
So I don't particularly know either. I would bet that standard changes official to official. I'm not even sure the NHL head office could articulate that standard, because as we know, it is just so messy and imprecise, the NHL rule book, even in even when juxtaposing what is written down to the way the game is called. To me, he doesn't target the head here. And to me, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's a 2-minute penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I could be convinced of that. He does make a small turn there. I don't like to blame the turn for the penalty. The
other thing I wonder is, like, is a double minor, a possibility there? Anyways,
yeah, because it wasn't a mean play. Like, it's not like he looked at the guy and like had you could sort of imagine preordained sort of thoughts on. Like, it wasn't a mean looking play. It was a violent play, but it wasn't particularly reckless.
He has a split second of time, but he doesn't have like enough time to size it up.
Yeah.
If you ask
me. I do wonder if there's a bit of game management from the rest there too, Matt, where they're like, we just got here. It's 4.5 minutes in. Are we going to really write the story of this game with this call? And the fact that it didn't go unpenalized, that would have been really wrong. I mean, they got the power play. They had a power play out of it, and they didn't get it. So it's probably the most fair decision that they could have made.
Yeah. What are you looking for out of the Canucks in Game 4?
I think with the pressure off a little bit, them to put both feet on the ground, get on the balls of their feet a little bit, and push forward. I think they can count their lucky stars. That's not them. We haven't seen them win many games at all with 12 shots this season. So I think we can just sort of write that off. If they have another like 15, 16 shot game, okay, I think we've got some concern, because that would be 3 in a row basically. But I would expect to see something different out of the Vancouver Canucks, and we'll take it as it comes. We'll see what happens Sunday. Yeah. If it's another team's shots, then we might have a big discussion on Monday here.
Yep, agreed. Hey, want to shout out everybody who joined us at Greta Bar at 50 West Cordova today for our watch party. Game 3. We are back there Sunday for Game 4, so join us 2 p.m. at Greta. Shout out to Levon and Jen, Sean Squared and Officer Chris, West End Peter, JC and Ryan, the Plasteris family, Adam, Jeff and the Social Run Club, and Simone and Sam, the photo booth scoundrels. We had an absolute blast there. Hoping to see people there Sunday, 2 p.m. No tickets required here, and proceeds donated to the BC Mental Health Foundation. Blake, I know you're traveling on Sunday. Frank Saravelli will join me here on the Sekeres Price post-game pod. Enjoy your weekends. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Hey, everybody. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.